And I was reading a book by Ben Hardy, Dr. Ben Hardy, and I read a lot of his articles online, and he has a program called AMP and had a whole reading list of books. And that is who introduced me to Tim Grover. And when I read Tim's book, I was like, this is me. Like this guy is like thinking like the way I think, but I've never really tapped into that.
Wow, that's so powerful to know where relentless found you, right? I'll translate it into Spanish. Entonces Emma dijo, a lo mejor es un problema de mi tipo de pensamiento, mi forma de pensar. Y empezó a leer libros y encontró un señor que se llama Ben Hardy. Y Ben Hardy tenía un programa que se llama AMP. Y en ese programa que se llama AMP, él sugería muchísimos libros. Y en uno de esos libros estaba el libro Relentless de nuestro mentor, el señor Tim Grover. Y cuando empezó a leer el libro de Relentless, Emma dijo, Tim Grover piensa exacto como yo. Esto es lo que necesito.
And so through these different books that Ben had us reading, I'd read several others before I had gotten to Tim's. And another one that really connected was The Art of Learning. And I think that's really why I had the clarity when I read Tim's book, is that I grew up playing basketball, and Tim comes from the basketball background. And it was like just the way he said things like started to connect the dots. And, since we've dove into his material, I'm now able to see that all of this experience and all of these obstacles are my exact learning ground that I needed to get where I needed to be.
Wow, this is so powerful, Emma. Entonces, Emma siguió buscando y leyó otro libro que se llamaba El arte de aprender. Y como con este libro de El arte de aprender, y como ella venía de un fondo de jugar básquetbol, el señor Tim Grover, él tenía también ese fondo, esa era su especialidad, los jugadores de básquetbol. Y entonces pudo hacer como que clic con la forma de pensar y se dio cuenta de que los obstáculos no eran en contra de ella, era el camino de aprendizaje que ella necesitaba para poder aprender y crecer.
Yes. So all of these obstacles I've now learned that used to kind of be, they were more scars because I was very disappointed in myself, disappointed in the way I've performed. And little did I know, I was just looking at things the wrong way. And all of those scars are now my biggest fuels and my best learnings. So now I've been able to turn the story and write the story how I want it to be written, and use those, use those obstacles, and, they could be seen as failures or they could be seen as learning experiences, to be the best I can be now. And not only is it a learning process, but now I can use it as fuel. I can look back and say, that's never happening again. And I understand why it happened and how I can use it going forward. So being able to dive in to each and every one of those disappointments is what really created the clarity for me to move forward.
Wow, so powerful. Let me translate that because, I can relate. I'll just say I can relate to every single thing you say, even though, I'm a spiritual athlete, right? I go within, I do deep dives into meditation and everything. But for me, the case with Mr. Grover, he matches perfectly. I don't come from a background of basketball or golf, but I come from a background of spirituality that it's a believer on very to the point spirituality. And what you just said, it really speaks to my experience too. The scars, use them as fuels, not going back to where, we were taking the story like off. We were not thinking appropriately. We reverse our thoughts. I just love that, Emma. So now let me just translate. My capacity of translating this and memorizing is getting better for the podcast. It's getting better. So there we go, Latin American family. Ahí vamos. Entonces dice Emma que empezó ella a cambiar su modo de pensar y todos sus obstáculos antes eran cicatrices porque ella estaba muy, como no estaba orgullosa de ella, estaba decepcionada de ella misma. Y con el trabajo, con Tim Grover, empezó a cambiarlos y en vez de estar decepcionada, empezó a usarlas como gasolina para seguir avanzando. Empezó a avanzar, realmente usar la cicatriz como una gasolina que te lleva hacia el camino correcto. Se dio cuenta que empezó a cambiar su forma de pensar. Estaba pensando equivocadamente y empezó a cambiar y a reescribir la historia. Ahora ella escribe la historia que ella quiere y no la que tiene que vivir. Go for it, Emma.
Thank you. And so once I've now started to understand these obstacles in the big scheme of things, it's been fairly recent. So it's been within the last few months. I'd say within the last 6 to 8 months. And then COVID hits. So I'm all excited to get going and play and have my best season yet and go out and win. And then all of a sudden they more than half of our season is canceled and there's no opportunities to qualify for the tour this year. So go ahead.
Yeah, let me tell people, because this is like excruciating. This is like the good part of the movie, Emma. We're like, what's gonna happen next? Okay. So Emma nos dice, entonces ya tiene la mentalidad, tiene el mentor, tiene todo listo y ya va a empezar la temporada y tan, ¿qué pasa? Llega COVID-19, cancelan la temporada y ya no tiene dónde calificar, dónde practicar, nada. Todo se para con esta llegada del COVID.
Yes. So now just recently over the last, I'd say 2 months, some tournaments have started to come about again. So I've been playing a lot more and just like being able to implement all of this finally and like just get some scores and get the results and see, what's working, what's not working. And, all of those obstacles have led me to my best summer yet. And even though we can't qualify for the tour, like at the end of the day, if I'm shooting the scores and I'm getting the results, I know I'm on the right path. And that is one thing that I am doing. This summer has been my lowest scoring average of my entire career. And then just 2 weeks ago, I had my first victory, which was super exciting. Even though it was a small event, it's still a win is a win. And
a win is a win, yes. Emma. Go for it. Tell us the numbers, Emma. Numbers do matter.
Yes, I shot a 67 and I won by 4 shots. So that was awesome.
Wow. Yes, we all in the Down and Dirty family, which by the way, familia, when you hear me say Down and Dirty, some people have sent me messages like, Ivonne, why are you talking dirty? I'm like, I'm not talking dirty. We belong to the group of Mr. Tim Grover. We're a family of allies. It's called Down and Dirty. But let me translate that. So Emma no puede estar en el campeonato ni nada, pero hace 2 o 3 meses a raíz del COVID ya se empiezan a abrir los juegos y ya por fin ella puede entrar al campo a practicar todo lo aprendido, a implementar lo que ya ha cambiado en su mente y a llevar a cabo los obstáculos como su gasolina para implementar estos últimos 2 a 3 meses y ha tenido no nada más sus mejores juegos de su vida, pero también acaba de tener una reciente victoria. Dijo que era pequeña, pero no fue pequeña, donde hace un juego casi perfecto que es de 67 para los que jueguen golf. 67, los números sí importan, y gana con 4 tiros de avance, de ventaja. 4 shots of advantage. That's amazing, Emma. I mean, I don't play golf, but I understand it. I've watched Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods. I used to be married to someone that really loved golf. And so every Sunday we'll watch golf. And there's a Mexican golfer that she's really awesome that we used to watch too. So I know that 67 is not a little victory, It's not like I just had a little victory. No, you had a victory. Right? Tuviste una victoria. So what happens next? So you had the victory. So you've been persevering, has perseverado. You've been using your obstacles. Has estado usando tus obstáculos. From scar to fuel. De cicatriz a gasolina. And then you win. Y luego ganas. You earn the right to win. Te ganas el derecho de ganar. Tell us a little bit more about that. Dinos un poquito más de eso.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like it's more like this just opened up the lid to understanding what that is for me and what is winning for me. And I think that's something that I had gotten lost in the journey of reading all this information and keeping, I just continued to consume rather than listen to my body, listen to what is working for me, and just keep that clarity. And sometimes the best learning is not learning and is trusting your instincts and going with what you know and feel is right. And that's also kind of what I've been able to use those obstacles and be like, hey, yeah, I read all these books. They tell me to do this, but that just doesn't work for me. I now know that sometimes when I'm a little more unstructured, it gives me flow. It gives me clarity and creativity. And that's when I perform my best. So it really is learning about myself more is my winning.
So Emma, you just spoke like a true spiritual teacher. That's the path of spirituality. It's not the doing, it's the undoing. It's not the learning, it's the unlearning. It's to tap into the flow. It's to actually say, not consume, but produce from within instead of over consuming and having the voices of others telling you what you should do. Actually, that, it's amazing because you are a pro athlete in such a mindset, a focused person. And in spirituality, it is the same. It's kind of, we empty ourselves to be more in the flow, to be more present, and to be fully who we are. So I'm going to translate what you just shared. So dice Emma que ella recuperó el aspecto de ganar para ella, de no ganar para otros, sino para ganar para ella. Y dejó de estar consumiendo más y más y más sabiduría, más cosas, más libros, más qué hacer, más estructuras. Empezó a escuchar su cuerpo, empezó a dejar de aprender. En vez de aprender, empezó a dejar de aprender y empezó a tener más creatividad y algo que se llama en inglés flow, que es el flujo. Less structure, menos estructura, more flow, más flujo, more listening to her body, más escuchar a su cuerpo, less listening to others' voices, menos escuchar otras voces, less consuming, dejar de consumir menos, and trusting more in her body, y confiar más en su cuerpo. And something I love that she said, y algo que amé que dijo, winning for her, ganar para ella. Instead of trying to win for others, en vez de estar ganando para otros, winning the approval, likes, appreciation of the external world, ganar la apreciación, etcétera, del mundo externo, that it has nothing wrong, que no tiene nada de malo, but she recovered that sense, recuperó ese sentido, what it was felt to win for her. And I'm so happy about that. Que es cómo ganó, cómo recuperó su sensación de ganar para ella. Wow, Emma, this is so powerful. Esto es tan poderoso. So, anything that you would like to leave the audience or anything else that you would like to say to them? Algo más que les quisieras decir, or leave, like as if you will coach Latin America, whole country. Si fueras el coach de Latinoamérica, todo el país, and you will tell them, how to use perseverance, obstacles, and winning. Cómo usar la perseverancia, los obstáculos y el ganar. What would you tell them to close the podcast? ¿Qué les dirías para cerrar el podcast?
Yes. Using your obstacles and can just continuing for what you want and what you believe in, I feel like is what it's all about. And every one of those difficult experiences is your fuel, and it's your opportunity to understand it and learn from it, and knowing that your next biggest accomplishment will come when you create that understanding from the obstacles. And that's been what's, I feel like, the biggest learning for me.